Prince Kadash. Want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Kakadash. This is NASA launches study of UFOs despite reputational risks, right? So NASA is investigating UFOs. And I'm making this video because it goes right along with a video I put up not too long ago of NASA filming a UFO coming into pretty much coming to the earth, and the way the UFO was moving, it was moving across, it stopped at a dime, and it was moving at tremendous speeds. I'm talking about it was able to cover the earth within seconds and then just stop and just hover and move just freely, so think of the type of power that it takes to be able to do something like that, right? So NASA is actually, which a lot of people don't know, NASA is actually investigating these UFOs, because they say they forgot to cut the feed and stuff like that, probably because they having interruptions with, trying to investigate them, but then at the same time hide it and keep it secret, because a lot of people can hack into things, and a lot of people is watching now, especially with these cameras and stuff everywhere. So let's read through this article real quick. It says NASA considered this a first step in trying to explain mysterious sightings in the sky known as UAPs, right, or unidentified aerial phenomena, right? And NASA's been studying UFOs. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them deceive you, right? They've been studying what you call UFOs, but in the Bible it's called chariots of Israel, chariots of fire, chariots. NASA has been studying these things. Man has been studying, and I don't want to say these things, Lucky. The chariots since the beginning of time, trying to figure out what they are. This is how Esau's got the ideal of even flying in the sky. It's because they seen these chariots flying in the sky, and they wanted to achieve that type of power. Everything that Esau is doing on earth, it's all really a copycat of the Bible, copycat of the Lord. They're trying to do the things in a carnal way, but they don't have the power. They don't have the spiritual power to do it the way that the Lord does it, by that spiritual power. Now it says NASA is launching a study of UFOs as part of a new push towards high risk, high impact science, right? It says, and it is high risk because things could get out, just like that video I said. Go check that video out on my page where it says footage, and it says NASA captures UFO entering into Earth, something on that on those lines. And it is high risk because the more you study, the more the information is going to get out too. It says the space agency announced Tuesday that it is setting up an independent team to see how much information is publicly available on the matter and how much more is needed to understand the unexplained sightings. The experts will also consider how best to use all this information in the future, right? Which is funny how America, right, which is in bad, the government, which is in bad with NASA, I'm bad with Elon Musk and SpaceX, right? SpaceX can't do the things they're doing without getting approval from the government, so they're definitely in it together, right? How they came up, the USA came up with a space force, so they already know what these sightings are. That's a throw off. Them telling you they're just studying them, right, just to see what they are. That's throwing you off. They're really studying them because they're trying to get prepared for this right here, this fight that's coming up. This is Revelations. Just in case you didn't know, this is Revelations chapter 12, verse 7. This is what they're trying to prepare for. It says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels, heaven talking about what the world calls space. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in the heaven. The dragons talking about the armies of the earth coming together to fight against the Lord when he comes back. But they're going to call it a UFO invasion, but really it's just the Lord coming back. So they're going to fight in the heavens before the Lord comes down. And it says Michael and his angels shall fight against the dragon and his angels. If you jump to Revelations 19, starting at verse 19, it kind of explains more in detail what that is. It says, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies. That's the dragon. The kings of the earth and their armies, which is ran by Esau, the man Esau. It says, gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. See, it's speaking about the mark of the beast all the way in Revelation 19. And them that worship his image, these both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. So if you take the chip, the mark of the beast, you're going to be destroyed when the beast is destroyed. You know, so you taking it to save your life. But what did it say in Matthew's chapter 10? Those that should try to save their lives should lose their lives, and those that should try to find life should lose life, and those that are willing to lose their life should find life. Just roughly paraphrasing, right? So it says the armies. It said the kings of the earth and the armies. So why do we say it's Esau? Because that's prophecy. It's prophecy that the Lord's enemy, when he comes back, his number one enemy will be Esau. And I'm going to touch that in Psalms 83. Touch on that real quick in Psalms 83. Straight to the point, though, because I just want to touch on it. The prophecy, right? Verse 1. Keep not thou thy silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. It says thy enemies, right? And consulted against thy hidden ones. So the Israelites are hidden. So this is an end time prophecy. This is a prophecy leading all the way up to the end times, because the Israelites are not going to be unhidden or revealed until the Lord comes back and saves his people. It says they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. So the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, we were cut off from being a nation. We were cut off from being Israel. That the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. So when they think of Israel, they think of the people that have control of the land, which are the Edomites. They don't think of the so-called Negroes. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Right? They consulted together with one consent. They said, look, let us put these people in the land. America's going to help. Transport them into the land and give them billions of dollars annually, and give them weapons and the Iron Dome and stuff like that. So they consulted together and said, look, and we're going to call them the Israelites. And we're going to call the true Israelites, we're going to call them bywords. That's a part of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Negroes, you know what I mean? Black, colored, it goes on and on. African, they're African Americans, which is all these terms was man-made up terms for us because we went in slavery under these people. We didn't make these terms up for ourselves. This was terms that was put on us by the people that put us in slavery. That's them consulting together. Verse 6, I'm going to leave it right here. It says, in the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, and the Moabites, and the Hagarites. So they're all going to be together even when they come to fight against the Lord. But you see Esau is first on that list. And even if you're still not convinced, I got another precept for you. This is Isaiah. And then I get back to the article. This is Isaiah 34, right? Straight to the point, verse 5. For my sword should be bathed in heaven. Behold, it should come down upon Adumium, which is Greek for Edom, and upon the people of my curse. He said the people of his curse, to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood, and it is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys and rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Adumium. This is who he's coming back to go to war with. It says, and the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullets with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made with with the fat of fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. That's when he comes back. That's that war in the heaven. He's coming back to take vengeance for his people. In the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. Even if you go, and we could keep going on all day with this, And sometimes you got to do that, because sometimes you kind of get in this zone where you just want to quote things because you coming at it from a standpoint of everybody already know this, but you kind of got to break it down because there's a lot of people that's studying that don't know these things, right? Verse 60, Isaiah 63, verse 1. Who is that cometh from Edom? See, these are future prophecies. With dyed garments from Basra. This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. How did they travel? in these UFOs, these theories, the greatness of his strength, right? And they're showing it. And just like that video I put up, it covered the whole earth within seconds. That's greatness of strength. That it says, I speak in righteousness, mighty to say, wherefore art thou red in thy apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood should be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. This has not happened until the Lord comes back. Because verse 4, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my recompense is come. This has not happened yet. This is future prophecy. His day of vengeance is the same as the Lord coming back. That's when the Lord comes back again. He's going to get his vengeance on mankind, which is led in the rulership of Esau, Edom. Going back to Revelations 12, just to break it down, just in case you didn't believe, right? Here, let me get another one more for you. Then I'll finish this article out. Malachi 1, verse 1. The burden of the Lord, a burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom say, we are impoverished, but we return and build. You know, that deadly wound was healed in Rome, and they returned and built a place called America, Mystery Babylon, in the Bible. It says, build the desolate places, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever. So this is forever. So when he comes back, the number one person on his list of his enemies is Esau, Edom, because they did rebuild, and he gave them the technology and the power to fulfill prophecy, so his name could be glorified when he destroys the greatest country or the greatest military on earth. So he gave them this technology to build up to where they at, just like he did in Egypt, and he's going to destroy it, and his name's going to be glorified for it. So let's keep going on this. It says, verse right here, it says, we are not shying away from reputational risks. Zubruction said during the National Economy of Science webcast, our strong belief is that the biggest challenge of these phenomena is that it is data par filled. Allegedly, they got shit behind the scenes that they could really show you that they're holding back. It says NASA considers its first steps in trying to explain mysterious sightings in the sky known as, which we already read that. It says this study will begin this fall in last 9 months, costing no more than $100,000. It will be entirely open with no classified military data used, which is complete bullshit. Now let's see the date. So this is June 10th, 2022. I'll repeat that. We in July. This is a month ago, 2022. And they said what? It's going to start this fall. So we going to see what they come out with, right? And you got to be wise, because they could come out with some shit just to throw you off, you know? It says NASA said the team will be led by David Sharpergel, president of the Simeon Foundation of Advancing Scientific Research. In a news conference, Spursgirl said the only preconceived notion going into the study is that the UAPs will likely have multiple explanations. So they going into it to kind of discourage you from believing in UFOs. They're going in it already to say, look, most of this stuff we gonna be able to explain, and they're gonna try to go explain it, but this is what's gonna happen. Here, let me jump back. They're going to try to explain these things because there's no difference. And why are they doing this? The truth, they're doing it because they're being plagued by the Lord. And there's no difference than in Egypt when the Egyptians were being plagued by the Lord. They had the magicians that was going out there and trying to explain the different plagues that the Lord was doing, and they came up short, right? This is Obadiah chapter 1. Verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy, we read about that in in Psalms 83, had brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So all those other nations, Moab, Ishmael, that was confederate with Esau, right? They're going to trade against him and prevailed against thee. You read about that in Revelation chapter 17, the EU nations trading against Mystery Babylon, America, and burning her with fire, which is going to come by nuclear weapons. It says and it's been a lot of talk about nuclear weapons lately, so it's not too far fetched, right? And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So they're going to try to figure these things out, but there ain't gonna be no understanding because the Lord's gonna take. He made them great, and He's gonna take that power back from them, and He's gonna take that sword and use it against them that He blessed Esau with in Genesis chapter, I want to say close to 27. It says, "Shall I not in that day, say the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?" Right? So He gonna destroy the wise men. And understanding out of the mouth of Esau, and all thy mighty men, OT man, should be dismayed. So they're gonna get dismayed when they try to figure it out. They're not gonna have no answers for how the chariots do what they do. They think, oh, well, it's gravity, but it's really spiritual that they can't even understand. And then they haven't even seen all the things these chariots or UFO could do. So when these chariots and UFOs start showing them things that they never even seen, they're going to be, it says, dismayed. They're not going to understand how it's doing it. It's going to look like magic. It says, to the end that everyone out of the mouth of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. And that's eventually going to happen, going back to Revelation chapter 12, when that war in the heavens happened. Now it says we have to approach all these questions with a sense of humility. But the problem is you have to approach all these questions with a sense of spirit. And that's where they go wrong at. Carnal. Spurgeon said, I spent most of my career as a cosmologist. I could tell you we don't know what make up 95% of the universe. So there are things we don't understand, right? And if you want to get the true understanding, all you got to do is really come ask the Israelites, right? And then we would go into the Bible and we would give you a biblical understanding through the spirit, right, of what these are, you know. But they're too proud to do that. It speaks about in Isaiah chapter 13 about them being proud. It speaks about Esau being very proud. Who's profaned as Esau? That's in the book of Hebrews, right? It speaks about that. You could just come ask us if you want to get the true answers, right? Stop fucking window shopping and watching from behind scenes and just come ask us. This is Romans chapter 3 verse 1. What advantage then has the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? So first, this is the reason why they don't want to come ask us, because or they ain't got a Hebrew Israelite on the team that's breaking down these things, kind of like Daniel did for King Nebuchadnezzar. They not gonna do nothing like that because they will have to admit that we're the true Israelites, and they don't want to give that up. They don't want to give the land up. They don't want to give the lie up, and that's why they gonna be destroyed. It says, so what advantage does have a Jew but a real Jew, right? So you have to admit who the real Jews is first. It says much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. So the oracles of God is committed to the Israelites. No matter how poor we is, no matter how at the bottom, how looked down on, how they count our life from madness. Wisdom Solomon chapter 5. The oracles of God are still committed to us. So we have the true authority on what the oracles of God is. In the truth, what you call the truth. We have the true authority on it, and you're never going to get the 100% truth unless you come to us, the Israelites. It's no way around it. So you have to humble yourself in order to do that. And the Lord's going to humble them, and they're going to come. And they're going to come and they're going to admit, because it says then it should be known who his people are. Right? Where we was called not his people, we should be called his people. So they gonna have to admit. There's gonna come a time where they gonna have to admit. We gonna see how the Lord is gonna do it, but it's gonna be glorious the way that the Lord does it, man. When He makes them have to admit. Going to Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9, He said He should make them come worship at our feet, right? He said he's gonna make them come worship at our feet. In order for them to come worship at our feet, they have to know who we are, right? Here at Hosea 1 verse 9. And then said God, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of sea, which cannot be numbered, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. So the same place we went in slavery, they said, look, you're not the Lord's people. You're not the true Israelites. You're not chosen. Anybody could be chosen. You know, the church, it's not about the Israelites. The Lord cast y'all off. It's going to be admitted that we are the Lord's people. And not just the Lord's people, but his only chosen people. It's going to be admitted there. And then they're going to come looking for the answers. Just like kind of the Egyptians had to realize when they was trying to, you know, recreate the plagues to explain them away, where they gonna have to realize that it's the Lord that's doing it. It speaks about that in Revelation chapter 6, that they're gonna try to hide from the face of the Lord. So there's so many precepts out there to break down this truth, just like it says in Romans 3, as it is written, you know, and that's how we're going. So with that, I'm gonna say salvation to the elect. Shalom.